Struggling to get consistent, deep, satisfying sleep after 50? You're not alone. And there's hope for a better outcome. And as a special feature today, I have sleep experts in the house. They know everything about sleep, so I'm taking a cue from them. I'm Janet McConnell, healthy longevity advocate, fitness educator, helping people over 50 unlock strength, clarity, and resilience through lifestyle habits that actually work. So in this video, I'll break down what sleep hygiene really looks like and 5 simple strategies to help you get a better night's rest starting tonight. Let's start with the phrase we often hear but rarely unpack: sleep hygiene. And no, sleep hygiene does not mean sleep in clean pajamas. Sleep hygiene simply refers to daily habits, environmental cues, and behaviors that support or sabotage your sleep. It's about creating a consistent rhythm for your body and mind so that you know it's time to rest, repair, and reset. And it's not just about what happens at night. Surprisingly, sleep hygiene starts in the morning. When you do things throughout the day, it impacts how well you sleep at night. That's a surprise to me when I first learned about this. Think of it like brushing the teeth of your brain. Small practices done regularly that lead to long-term benefits. And how do we know when our sleep hygiene needs some love? Well, here are a few signs. You wake up tired, even with what seemed like a good night's sleep. Another one, you crash in the afternoon or feel foggy throughout the day. Or you're irritable and reactive to stress, that short fuse. When that happens to me, I think, what is wrong with me? I'm so impatient today. I just don't recognize myself. That's an internal sign that probably my sleep wasn't up to snuff the night before. Another sign that your sleep may be suffering is it takes forever to fall asleep. It just tick, 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 tick of the clock. Or you're waking up at 2 a.m. and can't fall back to sleep. Those are kind of 2 different aspects of the same problem. And the last one is you're relying too much on caffeine or sugar or other stimulants to keep you revved up. Or you're relying too much on wine to fall asleep at night. Your body has its own language, and poor sleep is one of the first ways it speaks up when something is wrong. So let's get into those 5 concrete, doable strategies to improve your sleep, especially after 50. The first one, I think it's something you probably already know, but it bears repeating because sometimes we just don't do it anyway. And that is go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Your body thrives on routine. In fact, sometimes strength strategies require you to break the routine and break out of the normal to get its attention. But when it comes to sleep, that's not going to work. You want your body to know bedtime, getting up time, no ambiguity. So even on weekends, which is kind of a challenge for some people because what you're doing when you have a regular bedtime and wake up time is you are reinforcing your body's own internal circadian clock to just do its job so that it doesn't get its wires crossed. And it makes it easier to fall asleep when it's time and to stay asleep all night and to wake up without being groggy the next morning. The circadian clock is very important. Now, I know on the weekends, especially if you're working a 9 to 5, you may want to sleep in. It's an indulgence and you were so disciplined all week. There's an occasional weekend dinner party that goes out to late hours and you're having a fun time and it's part of life. Okay. So an occasional weekend dinner or a party with friends that goes deep into the night once in a while, that's okay. That's not what's messing you up. But your regular habit you need to go back to because you will pay for it the next day either way. But if this is occasional, it's not a problem. I have the feeling that that's not really why you're listening, because New Year's Eve, when you stay up, you're going to sleep in the next day and you're still going to feel a little raggedy. That's okay. But as a regular day in, day out practice, same bedtime, same getting up time. But if you're getting to bed late on Friday and Saturday nights as a rule, and then sleeping in, and then expecting to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Monday morning, it's not going to happen. You're going to be dragging. So what you've done when you do that is you've created self-induced jet lag. Your circadian rhythm is off kilter. And I'm not just pointing my finger at you, because this is the area that I struggle with, because I love to indulge a little bit on the weekends. So I have to really discipline myself around this little caveat. I've got a little compromise that might work for you. Try this. Stay up 1 hour later than usual. Get up 1 hour later than usual, so that it's not so extreme that you're just blown out on Monday morning, but you still get like a little, I got a little indulgence. And so psychologically it feels better. And it's a nice little treat. It's not ideal, but it's a reasonable flex if a later evening on the weekend is something you just enjoy. And really, you just sort of have to activate your inner parent. Did your parents make you go to bed at a certain time when you were a kid? Oh, Mom, come on. But they were pretty immovable on this rule on a school night. And they were right. So decide your values and your priorities. Act accordingly. Strategy number 2 is to get sunlight in your eyes early in the day. This sounds almost too simple to be real, but it works. I'm telling you. Sunlight in the early morning helps reset your circadian internal clock and encourages melatonin production later in the day, setting you up for better sleep at night. Now this one, it makes me smile, because one of my longtime clients who I've been training for almost 10 years has a 6 a.m. session. So I have to get up, be in the dark, and I'm at the gym training him before the sun comes up. So when I heard this strategy, I had to think about how I was going to do that. And what it meant was I carved out 30 minutes early in the morning after my second client, and I would go outside with my protein shake and just hang out on the sidewalk, sit under a tree, just kind of be in the sunlight. You want the sunlight to sprinkle your eyes. You don't want to stare at it, obviously, but let real sun rays be able to contact your eyes. That's the trick. 10 minutes is a perfect dose. In fact, the experts out there that study sleep say anytime before 9 a.m., you want to do it before the UV rays are really powerful, but you still get that nice, direct, warm sunlight. If you have the luxury of a slower start in your day so that you're actually getting up with the sun, basically, or you work from home so you have a little more flexibility in your schedule, then take advantage of it. Go on a short 10-minute walk in the morning when the light is more powerful than any supplement you could even buy. It might help reinforce this practice with you too, if you know what's really going on in here behind the scenes, because otherwise it just sounds like a directive with no purpose. Here's why. So in the morning, bright sunlight suppresses melatonin, which is the sleepy, calm, relaxed hormone. It's good for bedtime, not when you're trying to wake up. So sunlight makes it go away, which is the same reason why it's not good to be glued to your blue screen when it's close to bedtime, because melatonin will stay suppressed. So put a pin in that. We'll come back to that point. Then the other thing that happens is you have a hormone called cortisol that is excited by sunlight. And cortisol and adrenaline are things that make you feel awake, alert. Let's go. Let's attack the day. And it comes to life. And then throughout the day, it kind of peaks. And then as the light gets lower in the afternoon, evening, and at night, there goes the cortisol. It just kind of, it falls off. Melatonin is like, I'm right here. I'm going to help you sleep. So melatonin and cortisol kind of act like opposites, and they are in perfect kind of a choreography with each other. And the way you encourage them to play nicely and trade places at the appropriate time is to have a regular bedtime, a regular rising time, and expose your eyes to sunlight in the early morning. That's pretty much all it takes. There's a few others, though, that can also help. You might have a couple of other habits that I can sort of clue you in on. So let's continue. Strategy number 3, wind down intentionally. Create a 30 to 60 minute buffer before bedtime. That might mean turning off screens. It might mean dimming the lights, stretching, deep breathing, a calming beverage like tea, or to read a real book, not something with light behind it, because that motion of your eyes going back and forth on the page can get very soothing. Just make sure you don't do what I did and read a book about nuclear Armageddon before bed. My eyes were tired, but my brain was really stressed out. That was a bad move. I know you know better. Simply stated, your brain needs to be cued. It's time to let go. And time-wise, think of it like landing a plane. It's a gentle descent, not straight down. So just a soft landing. That's what you need. And that's what this will help you with. Strategy number 4, cut the sneaky sleep disruptors. One of them, obviously, is caffeine. Caffeine, I have it in the morning. It's delicious. And it really helps. Just a cup or 2 in the morning. And then that's it. Some people like to have maybe something in the middle of the day. But try to not have any caffeine after 2 p.m. That gives your adrenal glands time to process it and have it out of your system well before it's time to wind down. And some people are even more sensitive to caffeine than others. So I would say only in the morning. If you figure out that's you know who you are. Another one is a sleep disruptor is alcohol. I hate to say it. And it seems kind of, like a trick, because wine or, maybe a little shot of brandy or something is certainly relaxing. I mean, and it does kind of make your brain stop grinding on problems. It's a mood changer. And so it's kind of deceptive. So it will help you fall asleep. Here's the problem. Alcohol disrupts REM sleep. That's the rapid eye movement part of your sleep cycle. And it's one of the ones that's the most important for repair and for being able to have that feeling of really satisfying sleep. And it will leave you feeling groggy the next day because you missed that important stage in your recovery. So alcohol disrupts REM sleep, even though it will help you fall asleep in the beginning. Another one is big, heavy meals in the evening. Your digestion really has to work hard to digest. So especially if you are an intermittent faster, make sure that window of opportunity when you're really having to eat a lot, have a little margin after that of an hour, 2 hours, ideally, before bedtime, so that you're not cramming all that food in and then trying to go to sleep. So try to finish your evening meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. Remember, your gut and digestive tract also deserve to rest and refresh and sleep with you. Strategy 5, optimize your sleep environment. It's like when you plant a seed, you have the soil, you till it up and break up the bits, and you put water in it, and you put it in a lighted place where it's going to get sunlight. That's creating the perfect environment for that seed to sprout. Well, you're doing the same thing by setting up your sleep environment so that the environment supports everything that you're trying to accomplish. So first of all, coolness is very important to slow down your metabolism, keep the melatonin flowing. So around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or I think that's around 18 degrees Celsius, that's ideal. And then make sure it's dark. Make a cave. Your bedroom should be like a cave, okay? Use blackout curtains or a sleep mask if you have like an annoying street light outside your window. Night lights should be down to a very minimum. I encourage you not to use it even, because that little bit of light is going to disrupt that deeper sleep. Obviously quiet. So white noise or calming sounds can help. I like playing a soundtrack that has like a bubbling stream or ocean waves or Tibetan bells that shuts off after an hour. And that really kind of helps me kind of feel like I'm floating on a floaty in a swimming pool. And yes, a firm mattress and proper pillows do matter, especially as we age. And here's a little bonus bit of information that made a huge difference for me. So this is just me to you sharing. Keep your phone either out of reach or flipped over and silenced. So I use mine for an alarm clock, but I'm not tempted to scroll once I get into bed because my eyes are tired and I just like to float. Okay. So if scrolling is part of your wind down, your brain isn't getting ready to go to sleep. It's not getting the go to sleep message. It's still chasing dopamine. So remove it from your bedroom if it's too much of a temptation. That's the best thing to do. Some people have a hard time resisting it, and no judgment. We all have our triggers, right? So remove it from your bedroom if the temptation is too great. And all those chats and messages, I promise you, even the news feed, it'll all be there in the morning waiting for you. You don't have to take care of it right now. I've taught my own clients that they can text me anytime, day or night. Not to worry that they're going to disturb me, because my sound is off from 8:30 till 4 a.m. I won't respond during that time, but if they need to change their appointment with me, I'll see it in the morning. Now, people, if you're still struggling after these other strategies that pretty much work across the board for everyone, it doesn't mean it'll solve everything. And we all have those times in our lives where it's just an acute, stressful situation, a family situation, a business disaster, you're worried about world events, whatever. It's like there's just stuff going on. And I understand that because we're all human. So what I want to encourage you to do is be patient with yourself. Don't deride yourself. Don't disparage yourself for having trouble sleeping. It's just something that we have to work through. And I have a few little extra magic tricks in my bag that I'm going to share with you. One is, if all else fails, try supplementing an hour or two before bedtime with magnesium glycinate. I talk about this in a previous recent video on supplements in general, especially as it pertains to supporting bone density. So magnesium glycinate helps your bones be able to absorb calcium and keep them mineralized. And it also supports a nice, gentle sleep. So I recommend that. It does work. Check with your healthcare provider if you are taking prescription medications, because there are a few indicators that are at cross purposes. So double check with them, but magnesium glycinate is a very good supplement. Also, one simple thing that helps me wind down, especially after a long, stressful day, instead of a glass of wine, is Yogi bedtime tea. It's the Yogi brand. You can get it at Sprouts or Whole Foods or any of those kind of organic, locally sourced grocery stores. It's awesome. And it's not a sponsor. It's not an affiliate. They're not paying me to say this. I'm just telling you because it works. So Yogi bedtime tea blends three key compounds: valerian root, passion flower, and skullcap. You can see them right on the ingredients panel. Maybe there's another brand out there that has them, but it's not just chamomile. It is like very calming botanicals that work on your nervous system. And for you science nerds like me, the botanical secret is that this works with the GABA receptors, which is a neurotransmitter for relaxation and sleep. So interestingly, this is the same calming pathway targeted by synthetic anti-anxiety medications like Xanax or Ambien. Those are made in a laboratory, pharmaceutical grade chemicals, but they are taken as inspiration from these three botanicals. Isn't that weird? I mean, it's really true that a lot of our modern medicines have their derivatives from, some Amazonian root or some Saharan flower or something. Well, here's a good example of that. What works in nature then was recreated in a lab. Now we know that things like Xanax and Ambien are serious medications. They are habit forming and they have side effects that may not be desirable. But if you take the botanical version, you cannot overdose on it and you cannot build a dependency on it. It's absolutely safe. Even 2 bags at a time, 2 tea bags. And I'm guaranteeing you, it'll put you out in a very soft, gentle way. It's part of my wind down ritual after a really tough day. Another thing that can get in the way, if you've tried all these other things, is if you're hungry at bedtime to the point where it's making it difficult to fall asleep because it's just uncomfortable. A very light, protein-rich snack, not sugar, protein, in the evening will help stabilize your blood sugar. It'll give you a little bump without going sky high. Not a meal, just a few bites of something that's easy to digest. Now, if this happens often or more than once in a week, I invite you to then reflect back on your evening meal, okay? Because you're supposed to finish your evening meal a couple hours before bedtime. So if the evening meal wasn't adequate in its nutritional content to really feed your body will tell you, I'm a little hungry now. I didn't get enough of something. So make sure that you're getting your calories for the day so that you are definitely fed, and make sure that you have dinner choices that include protein and fiber, because those have the most satiety. So in other words, they take longer to digest and will make you feel full longer so that you can hopefully get to bed and get to sleep before you feel hungry. That would be a good fix for that. But if it's too late for that because it's bedtime and you can't sleep, just a little something that is protein based will help you fall asleep. Another tactic that works really well if you're having trouble just calming down when it's time to go to sleep is to practice a little breath work. A double deep breath in and a very slow exhale. So it looks something like this. So you take a deep breath and then another little sip of air. So your lungs are really full. And then very slowly exhale, like letting air out of a balloon. This signals to your emergency broadcast system in your brain that all is well. It's the kind of breathing that calms down your heart rate, even lowers your blood pressure. So if you do that 10 times, the first thing that will happen is you will lose count after number 5. Try it and see. It's maddening because then I don't know how many I've done, but that means it's working. The key here is to avoid spiraling into frustration, because frustration will just get you worked up. The body wants to sleep. It just needs support and the right conditions. So hopefully these tips are helpful for you. Let's recap a little bit. Sleep hygiene is about small daily choices that support your brain and your body. And if any of these strategies I mentioned are things you haven't tried yet, give it a go for a week or two and see what happens. And let me know in the comments what you found out. And when your sleep is off, your body gives you clues. So pay attention. And these 5 best practices for ways to relax and get to sleep or stay asleep can help you reclaim your rest and wake up restored. Don't accept the idea that poor sleep is just part of aging. It's not. There's a better way. And it starts tonight. And remember, heroes, even Superman had to hang up his cape and sleep. And so do you. Let's age strong together.